It's almost 2 a.m. You should be asleep. You know you should be asleep. But your brain has other plans. It's running a director's cut of every embarrassing thing you've ever said, every decision you regret, every conversation you could have handled differently, and at least 3 catastrophic versions of something that hasn't even happened yet. That's overthinking. And if that sounds familiar tonight, you're not alone and you're not broken. You're stuck in one of the most exhausting psychological loops the human brain can run. And today, we're going to break it down. What it actually is, why your brain does it, and, more importantly, how to actually make it stop. First, let's be clear about what this actually is. Overthinking isn't just thinking a lot. Everyone thinks a lot. Overthinking is when your thinking becomes a substitute for living. When instead of making a decision, you replay it endlessly. When instead of moving forward, you keep circling back. When the same thought visits you so many times it starts to feel like a roommate you never agreed to let in. Psychologists call this rumination, from the Latin word for how cows chew their cud. They swallow, bring it back up, chew it again, over, getting nothing new from it. That's your brain on overthinking, chewing the same thing, going nowhere. And here's what makes it so insidious. It feels productive. Like if you just think about it long enough, you'll finally reach the answer that makes everything okay. But research from psychologist Susan Nolan Hoeksema found the opposite. The more you ruminate, the worse your problem solving gets. The more anxious you become, the more paralyzed. Overthinking doesn't sharpen your thinking, it corrodes it. And the cost isn't just lost sleep. Chronic overthinking has been directly linked to higher rates of anxiety and depression, not as a symptom, but as a cause. A loop that tightens over time. It also physically exhausts you. Your brain consumes roughly 20% of your body's energy even at rest. When you're cycling the same catastrophic thoughts, you're burning fuel with the engine in park. Drained by thinking about living instead of actually living. The life you're worried about missing? It's happening right now, while you're in your head. To understand overthinking, you need to meet 2 parts of your brain. The first is your amygdala, your brain's alarm system. Ancient, fast, emotional. Its entire job is to scan for threats and fire a warning the moment it finds one. The second is your prefrontal cortex, the rational, planning, decision-making part. Slower, more deliberate. It handles nuance. In a healthy system, these 2 talk to each other. Amygdala says danger. Prefrontal cortex evaluates actual danger or just uncomfortable. But when you're stressed, sleep-deprived, or overwhelmed, the amygdala goes into overdrive. It starts flagging everything as a threat. That unanswered text? Threat. That silence in a conversation? Threat. That decision you need to make by Thursday? Massive threat. And your prefrontal cortex, instead of making calm decisions, is just trying to manage the alarms. It can't keep up. So the thoughts loop. There's also something called the default mode network, the set of brain regions that activates when you're not focused on anything. Your brain's idle mode, and in idle mode, it defaults to one thing: you, your past, your future, your mistakes, your fears. For overthinkers, the default mode network never quite switches off. It runs in the background constantly, even when you're in a conversation, watching something, trying to enjoy a meal. Overthinking isn't a character flaw, it's a runaway background process. Overthinking tends to fall into 2 directions, backward and forward. Backward, overthinkers live at the past, replaying old conversations, revisiting old decisions, editing a film that already aired. Forward, overthinkers live in the future, running catastrophic simulations, planning for every worst case, asking but what if until there are no what ifs left, then inventing new ones. Both feel completely different from the inside, but underneath, they're the same mechanism, a brain trying to gain control over something it can't control by thinking about it harder. And here's the thing most people miss. It's never really about the thought itself. It's about uncertainty. Okay, here's what actually works. Not just think positive. Not stop worrying. Real, research-backed tools that interrupt the loop. Number 1, name it to tame it. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman found that simply labeling an emotion, saying, "This is anxiety," or "I'm ruminating right now," reduces amygdala activity almost immediately. Not suppressing the thought, not fighting it, just stepping slightly outside it. From inside the loop to observing the loop. That shift in perspective is enough to weaken its grip. Number 2, give the thought a deadline. Instead of trying to stop thinking about something, which never works and usually backfires, schedule it. Tell yourself, I will think about this at 6 p.m. for 20 minutes, not now. This is called worry postponement, and studies show it genuinely reduces intrusive thinking throughout the day. Your brain doesn't need you to abandon the thought. It just needs to know it won't be forgotten. That's the difference between ignoring an alarm and pressing snooze. One creates panic, the other buys peace. Number 3, make your body interrupt your brain. Overthinking lives in abstraction. Physical sensation is its kryptonite. Cold water on your face. 5 slow breaths, in for 4 counts, out for 6. A short walk with no destination, no phone. These aren't distractions. They activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest mode, which physically signals the amygdala to stand down. You can't think your way out of overthinking, but you can move your way out. Number 4, ask a better question. This one changes everything, and most people never try it. Overthinking almost always runs on open-ended questions. What if this goes wrong? Why did I say that? What does this mean about me? These are loops the brain cannot close. There's no answer, so it keeps asking. The fix isn't to answer those questions harder, it's to replace them with one that can be closed. What can I actually do about this right now? If there's a real answer, do it, even a small thing. Send the message, book the appointment, write it down. Action closes the loop. If there's no action available, that's your answer too. It means thinking more won't help, and you can put it down. Here's what I want you to hear before we close. Your overthinking brain is not your enemy. It is an incredibly intelligent system that learned, somewhere along the way, that thinking hard enough could keep you safe. Maybe it helped you survive something difficult. Maybe it made you careful when careful was the only option. Your brain learned this for you. It just hasn't gotten the memo that the threat level has changed. So this isn't about silencing your mind. It's about updating it, giving it better tools than the loop, showing it that uncertainty doesn't have to mean danger, that not knowing is not the same as not safe. The goal isn't a perfectly quiet mind. The goal is a mind you're no longer afraid of. One where a difficult thought can arrive, and instead of hijacking your entire evening, you can look at it and say, I see you, not right now. I'll decide what you deserve later. That's not suppression. That's not avoidance. That's agency. And agency over your own mind is one of the most powerful things you can build. If this helped you understand yourself a little better today, that's exactly what this channel is here for. Every week, we explore the psychology behind the things you feel but haven't had words for yet. Subscribe if that sounds like something you need. And if someone in your life lies awake at 2 a.m. running the same thoughts on repeat, maybe send this their way.